Now pleased to be joined by someone, when you think of basketball, this guy lives and breathes it every day. He has been doing that for decades, recently named Director of Basketball Operations for the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Joe Raso, congrats on the new title, and welcome to the Niagara Sports Report.
Well, thanks, Rod. It's fun being here.
How many decades now, Joe, have you been involved in the sport of basketball? And I don't say years, I say decades.
3 for sure.
3 decades, exactly. You've coached at the Canadian University level with Canada Basketball as well. You've been involved. You've coached pro with the Niagara River Lions. But I don't think many realize you also are an advanced scout for a number of NBA teams. Can you take the listeners through what teams you work for and what advanced scouting particularly means?
Yeah, I did regional advanced scouting. So I scouted teams for Atlanta, for Brooklyn, for Denver, in Toronto. So I would do the games. It wasn't players I was scouting the opposing team. And so what I would do is I'd prepare notes and calls that teams had made during the game, and then match that up to the video after the game. And so teams would have on-site personnel. You'd have verbals and visuals that would match up with video and plays afterwards.
Yeah, people don't realize the intricacies of what video and scouting means nowadays. Let's stick with the NBA. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
It's a big part of it, and in my case, I was like the mercenary. Some days I'd be scouting teams that were playing the Raptors, and some days I'd be scouting the Raptors.
Mm-hmm. Let's stick with the NBA for a moment. And how about the start for those aforementioned Toronto Raptors? Franchise best 6-0. And I think your analogy of the DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard trade to me at the Niagara River Lions CEBL launch party last month. Do you remember what you told me?
Yeah, I think if you can get the 5th player for a top 25 player, you won the deal.
That's right. You said that Kawhi Leonard was a top 5 guy in the NBA, and boy, is he proving any doubters wrong, that's for sure. CEBL, Director of Basketball Operations and NBA Scout, Joe Raso, live on the Niagara Sports Report. Let's get to your new role and title. How did Director of Basketball Ops come to be with the Canadian Elite Basketball League?
Well, the CEBL it has had a great business model. They developed it from the top down. And now when they got to the basketball part of it, they just needed a centerpiece, somebody that, has the contacts, has links, has experience, and that happened to be me. And so I was really happy that they brought me in with that idea. My responsibility is everything basketball, from helping secure players, helping develop coaches, working with officials, working with Basketball Canada, working with FIBA, making sure that the basketball part of it, and using my experience and I guess my contacts to make things go a little bit easier. It's a real good model, and that's part that excited me the most, getting involved from this end of it. Instead of you coaching one team, I'll be in a situation where I'll be cheering for 6 teams.
Mm-hmm. And the CEBL will be releasing their schedule later this week, and that, of course, includes the Niagara River Lions, who will take to the court in May of 2019 at Meridian Center. And, Joe, you mentioned this briefly with what you just said, the business model, but the people behind and involved in the Canadian Elite Basketball League are some very well-known sports figures, and not just in basketball, aren't they?
No, when you recruit a team, in this case here, the model, Mike Morreale has done a great job as, the CEO of the league. Everybody he's been bringing in are experts in their field. And I think in a league or on a team, if everybody is very good at what they do, then you're going to be successful. And right now we've got a group that are experienced, good, and I think, is the first step to making this league very successful.
And you mentioned as well the word FIBA, and that's very important to the ownership and the people behind this league to have that FIBA connection. Can you explain that a little as well?
Yeah, FIBA rules, and FIBA itself is the world's game. It's the rules that the world plays by. It's a standard of all leagues that are recognized around the world outside of the NBA. It's 40-minute game. It is FIBA rules that are played at the university level and the college and university level plays and the college level plays, and it qualifies us at an equal level to the rest of the teams in the world. So therefore, getting an affiliation or getting closer with Basketball Canada or to their guidelines, it will help us. It'll be the game that people know and recognize. The rules won't change. The NBA is the NBA. And so it gives you certain privileges, some important things that you want to be associated with FIBA, with rule changes, but also players are governed by a body, an international body, which is important to the league and to the team. And it gives you credibility internationally, which is very important.
And your goal and the league's goal, obviously, is to make this the best professional basketball league Canada has ever seen, correct?
Yes, with an emphasis on Canadians. The emphasis is you're going to bring an incredible amount of talent. But that incredible amount of talent now includes Canadians. And we want to make sure that we include Canadians. It's not a matter of the Canadians being tokens. It's a matter of taking the best Canadians around the world that are being, are imports on other teams around the world and bringing them back here to play in the summer. We want it to be the best league in the country. We want it to be a very good basketball, but we want it to be made up of the best Canadians that are playing basketball all around the world.
And I think what helps as well is that May 2019 launch. It's kind of an off-season for some of those European leagues that might get a chance to see some of those top-name Canadians come back home, correct?
Absolutely. If you look at an example of the G League in the NBA, we will be playing in windows completely different to their window. Their window ends in April. It starts in October. Our league would fit in perfectly with, because a player's lifespan is one of the challenges that a player has. They've only got a certain amount of years that they can, make money. And so for the players, they like to play as much as they can because their window of opportunity is so small. Now it's difficult because players are playing all over the world. But in particular, when you go back to the Canadian guys, it'll be nice for them to play in Canada, play in the league in Canada where they do home training. And for some of us, it would be the first time we saw some of these players, even though they're local. We haven't seen them since they played college basketball. Mm-hmm.
The 6 locations, of course, Niagara with the River Lions, Hamilton, Guelph, and then you move out west. You've got Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and BC as well, Fraser Valley. Any location you haven't visited along your basketball journey over the past 3 decades?
No, but I haven't. I've been to Lower Mainland in British Columbia, but Fraser Valley is a spot I haven't played at. But it's a community that's growing and it's got a great facility with high expectations. So I think that the Lower Mainland, the Fraser Valley, is going to be really important. Saskatchewan is special just because they embrace everything regional. Mm-hmm. You put no matter what the sport is. Even at the Grey Cup when they're not there, mm-hmm. They support it like no other fans. And Edmonton is a big time city that has a great love for basketball and sport.
Yeah, you mentioned Saskatchewan. Of course, you mentioned the Green Riders, the Rough Riders, but also in lacrosse with the Rush now. They sell it every game, so it's going to be fun to see this league, the CEBL, Canadian Elite Basketball League, grow in the months to come. Off topic, Joe, tomorrow night, am I going to see you at the Bills Monday Nighter?
You'll see, I'll be watching. You won't see me, but I'll be watching.
All right, Joe. Looking forward to seeing you back at the Meridian Center soon. He's the Director of Basketball Operations for the CEBL, Canadian Elite Basketball League. Joe Raso, thanks as always for joining the Niagara Sports Report.
Thanks, Rod.